Hi parents, thank you so much for watching this video. I am excited to give you all of the information that you're going to need to get your kids ready for kindergarten for next year, especially reading, because this is the point in the year where all of the training and all of the work that we've done so far kind of starts coming together for them and they realize, oh my goodness, I can read. Now keep in mind that every child is different and every child progresses at their own pace. So first of all, I want to make sure that you guys know that this is not supposed to be stressful for you or for your children. You only need to dedicate 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes tops to this every night. And once you get in a routine of doing this, it should be something that your child can do without you needing to, remind them every night and constantly supervise them, especially when we talk about the games portion. Also, keep in mind that they can read to get signatures to anyone in the family that knows how to read and can sign their name in the back of the book. So in case I forget to mention those in this little orientation. First of all, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the readers. So I'm going to send you guys all home with these reading books. You'll all have these, and they're in order. You're going to start with 1, and it goes clear up to 21A. All right? So what you're going to do is you're going to start with book number 1, and I'm just going to show you quickly here in the book. Sorry for going off screen every once in a while. All right. So first of all, these books are done by Miss Rita Lyon and her son, Howard Lyon, and they're copyrighted by her. So that's why it says Lyon's Learning Place on the back of that. These are scripture-based readers that she put together. And they do have a couple of words that are a little bit harder to read. So don't be too concerned if your child can't read words like Sariah or Nephi, but they'll learn them as they go on, and that'll help them in the future. Okay, so on the very first page of these readers, you will see that there is some practice words, the phonemic awareness, and it tells you the words. It's basically practice at reading and rhyming. Okay, so you're going to have this first one is man, fan, you, me, back, sack. And they should know by now what rhyming is because we do that every single day. This one, you can also, if you want to help them, you could read the first one, man, and then say, what's a rhyming word with man? And they can look at it and you can help them sound out the first letter, and then they should be able to go from there. And that helps build their confidence as well. Okay, so this is where the real meat and potatoes comes in. I got to make sure I'm on screen because this recording thing is not my forte. All right, so with this, we have the new sounds that they're going to be learning. Let me get closer so you can see it in this book. So what the kids are going to do is they'll sit with you or somebody. I would say start with you, so that they know what they're doing at first, maybe the first couple of books, and then after that they can move on to reading to siblings and things. So they're going to read and say the sound each time before you read. So I don't want them saying A-A-R-M-S because that's not what we're doing. We're doing the sound. So they're going to go through and they're just going to tell you. You're going to point and and they're just going to go through all of those. And then down here, there's going to be a sight word. This one for this book is the word I. And then you're going to also make sure that you point out that this little guy at the end of every sentence is called a period and start working on punctuation with them. That page should go pretty quickly because we've been working on our letters. And sometimes they'll get stuck, and that's okay. You just tell them what it is and you move on. All right. Then you're going to move over here to the blending page. And the blending page is you're going to start with the sound, and you're going to go da, s, And what you're teaching them is to slide along the line and read the sound. Da, s, like that. Then you're going to move on and you're going to start blending the sounds together. So now you're going to make the sounds touch or lock together. And so you're going to start here and you're going to say, nah, right? And then, sorry for the writing on this. I should have grabbed a different book, but ah, and then nah. So what you're doing here is it's slow, nah, and then nah, and then nah. So that they're learning that they've got to move a little quicker and make them touch. So you're going to do that with those. And then you start your reading. And just keep reminding them that this is a word, I, and then they can start going, and the first few books, it does take a little bit of patience because it's a little tough for them at first to try to understand and get the hang of the blending of the letters, but they will get there, and pretty soon they'll be reading quickly. And these are really short books. When they get to the end of reading the book, mom or dad or an older sibling that can read can sign here once they've read it once. Once they get to 20, they're done with the book, and they can come in and tell Miss Tammy, I finished my book. I'll look in the back to see if it's been signed, and that if it's been signed completely, all 20, then they get to choose something out of the treasure box, which right now the treasure box has lots and lots of really good information, or not information, really good prizes in there. So they're excited about that. Okay, in the information that I sent you, there is a pamphlet. I don't know what this is called. A couple sheets of information for you that I'm going to go over with you really quickly. First of all, with these reading books, the important thing to remember is that you keep it fun, that you find an optimum time every day, and that you stop before your child is tired. Some kids that can be 5 minutes, some kids that can be 15, others might want to keep going. If they want to keep going, no, Mom, really, I want to keep going, then that's fine. You can continue to go on if you'd like, but we don't want them to get burned out. We don't want them to think it's super exciting and do it for 30 minutes or an hour one day, and then the next day be like, ugh, nope. So if they're the kind of personality who really wants to keep going, you can say, guess what, we get to do it again tomorrow. So don't let them get burned out, but also make sure that it kind of stays fun. And for some kids, it might be, hey, guess what? We get to read. Isn't that exciting? And then it's 3 minutes. You know, you get the book out, you look through it, you go through the first page, and then they're like already done. So just go with what your child, you know your child. So just make sure that you're making it and keeping it fun for them. And if it takes a couple of little 2-minute bursts to get through a book, then that's great. So you're going to begin with tandem reading, and you as the leader say the word and point to it and have your child repeat it after you. So eventually your child will see the word and know, okay, I am Sam, right? They'll know that. But to start, you can go ahead and be the reader and then have them follow after you. And always remember to point as you're reading so that they can learn that when we read, we go from left to right. Let's see. Hesitate a bit eventually to give your child the opportunity to read it on their own, and then use this every time a new book is introduced for as long as you feel your child needs it. Make reading a warm, supported activity for your child. Help him as much as needed, but at the same time help establish independence and self-mastery with this new skill. It is a fine line, but just be aware of it. All right, so when we get to the blending, I talked about that. Make the sounds lock together. This is the most important thing we will teach them, is this will help them learn to read. So the correct way to do this is to make sure that they are all touching. So it's going to be r-a-n, right? R-a-n. And you're not going to do r-a-n, because all they're doing is sounding out individual letters. So the point of it is to blend them together. So they're going to run into each other. It is fine if he wants to sound the individual sounds out in his brain or even under his breath, or if you ask him what the individual sounds are. But try to help your child understand that if they want to read, or to make it a read word, that it's not just separate sounds. The sounds have to lock together and touch. All right, so you do want to point to each word, and you can either, once your child gets the hang of it, you can have them point to each word if they're getting to that point. Even if you're reading, if they can point to the words, that's amazing. But to start, you're probably going to need to point to each word. One of the things that I found, I don't have with me, I should have grabbed it, is it's a little easier if you use a pencil eraser, and you can just kind of point along with your pencil eraser as you go. Let's see. As I said, this helps establish left to right sequencing. Please encourage your children. I had a terrible example here, but please encourage your children not to write in their books. They're going to think that they're coloring books because the Pictures aren't colored in, but if they get in the habit of writing in their books, then they might write or color on the words, and then it's too hard to read. So let's just tell them these are not books for writing and these are just for reading, just like you would any book in your home that is for reading. You don't let them color in it. Okay, this one's really important, and this is something that I don't know if a lot of people are aware that they do. I was doing it and wasn't even aware of it. Never stop the learning process with no, or that's wrong, or even non-pertinent information. So for example, the correct way to do this is the parent, what is this word? And they point to the word stump. The child says, I don't know. The parent says, stump. And then the child says, stump. So then the parent says, good job, and they move on. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. The incorrect way, which a lot of people do and they don't even realize it. I did this to my he's now 14. I did this to my 14-year-old a lot. And then I started reading this. I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't a good idea. So here's the incorrect way, or an example of an incorrect way. Parent, what is this word? You point to the word stump. Child says, I don't know. And then the parent says, okay, so what is left after you chop down a tree? So you're giving them examples of what the word can be, and just instead of just telling them, that's getting their brain to focus somewhere else instead of on what they're supposed to be doing, which is reading. Okay, also again, I pointed this out in one of the readers, but notice the stop sign. We call them stop signs, and then I tell them it's called a period. But the punctuation is very important, and sometimes I demonstrate how it would work and without a period. So I will go ahead and read a sentence, and then I'll just keep going, and they think, what just happened? So that helps them understand that it's a pause or a stop sign. And just ask them every time, what is this, so that they can get used to what it is. Read each book at least twice, write in succession every day. Do sign your name each time. You can definitely read more times than this if your child wants to. Now, this, for some kids, can take, if you were trying to read them 2 times in succession, the whole book, that could take a very long time if they're really struggling. So what I suggest is try to keep it to 15 minutes. If you notice your child is struggling a lot, that's fine. Go ahead and just have them trace with you or have them follow along with their finger, and you read it to them nice and slow, pointing to each word so that they get the hang of the reading until they can get to the point where it's a little more fluid for them, so it's not taking too long. Always keep up what I call positive noise. As you are helping your reader, you're going to want to say things like, oh, that is so good. You're reading all by yourself. You are a wonderful reader. And above all, make sure you're smiling. Sometimes that can be quite difficult because we don't feel like smiling because we have 40 million things happening and we really just don't even have 15 minutes to sit down with our reader. But I promise you that the amount of time you dedicate towards helping your child read now is going to save you hours in the long run later, because they're going to be so far advanced that you won't have to help them with homework later when it really matters. Okay. When your child reaches book number 15, now some kids might not even get past book 5, and that's fine, but some are going to take off. And if your child reaches book 15, then they're awarded a teacher badge. Let me see if I can find that. Sorry, I went off screen there for a second. This is a teacher badge. They get a teacher badge, and they get to wear this. They're awarded this little guy here. Can you see that? It's just got a little picture on it. It's a little necklace, and they just think they're so great. They get to have this, and they get to wear this as the teacher, and they get to help other kids. So let's see. The teacher still progresses at his own rate with their new books, but has the honor and privilege of helping someone else. It always increases your ability when you teach. Of course, the child reading benefits because he is getting to read additional times. So the teacher can also read to other teachers. So if we have multiple children who've gotten to book 15 and they're teachers, they can read to each other. But the teacher is going to get to help kids that may still be on book 3 or 4 or 5. So a lot of kids will push for that because they want to be so helpful, especially if you've got a child that is that kind of personality that just loves to be helpful and almost gravitates towards being a helper. They're really going to enjoy that. Let's see. Please keep the little reading book readily available to your student as it is his responsibility to get out the one he is currently reading and put it in the proper place in his backpack. So you guys all have most of you are still using the clear backpacks that I gave you. The clear backpacks have a pocket in the front that has their name their laminated name card in the front. So what I ask is that you take your book, whatever book your child is reading. So if they were on book 4, you would take book 4 and you would slip it in the very, very front. So this is the thing facing, right behind their name so that they can recognize their own backpack. Slip it in that first pocket though, in the very front, but behind their name. And that's going to be always in there, whichever book they're working on currently. Once it's signed off and I have put a sticker on it in the back saying that they've checked this book off, then you can switch this out for the next book. Some parents will have all of the books in there, and that's too hard for me because I've got 20 students in both classes, and it's too hard for me to go through every book and try to figure out which one they're on and look at the signatures. So just keep the book that is the most current, that they're currently working on, getting signed off, in that front pocket of their backpack. And then when we practice reading in the morning during playtime, then I'll be able to just pull out that one book and quickly read with them. Let's see. These should come to school every day, even if you haven't had time to read or work on them, so I can hear your child read. Reading progress will be made if you will read every day. Every time your child finishes a book, all of the lines in the back are signed. He gets to choose out of the treasure box and start a new book. So I already mentioned that. All right. A couple of notes to remember. In book 3, we introduce the sight word A. Please pronounce it as a long A sound rather than the sound. This will help your reader get ready for long vowels, which I introduce when your child is ready. And then also, if you get to book 10, mom is the last word on the blending page. And this is not a typo. You might think it should be the word glad, but it was intentionally written that way as a make sure you are paying attention word. So if you remember that when you get to book 10, in fact, I can show you here real quickly. At the back of the blending page here, you'll see that it says, where am I going? There we go. Right here. It says glad mom. That's just to trick them to make sure that they're paying attention. It's only in book 10. All right. What else do I need to let you know? Okay, here's another thing that happens a lot that people aren't aware of that they're doing when they're helping their children read. Keep the sounds as short and as clean as possible. So you're going to say not ma, and you're going to say not ra. A lot of times we do that with letters and we don't even realize we're doing it. You're combining multiple sounds. So just keep them really short and clean. You can draw the sound out, but make sure it is just a very clean form of the sound that you're working on. And then in the back on the second page of this flyer, it does have the short vowel and the consonant sounds, how they should be learned. So a as in at, e as in bet, I as in it. And it goes through all of the letters for you for that. So then the rest of this is just some literature that you might want to read talking about some phonemic awareness, what it is, some more tasks that if you wanted to do activities to promote. Reading poetry to your children is a really good way for them to help learn how to read because they learn the rhyming sounds and that helps their brain learn to read. So that helps you with the readers. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to tell you about some of the other information you're going to be getting in your packet of information that your child will be bringing home. One of the things they're going to get is this. And this is just a laminated manila folder. And on this, it's got the directions of this game. And on the back is a little envelope here, a baggie that just has all of the little letters in it. These are all the lowercase letters in here. And inside, you will see all of the uppercase letters. So their job is to, in order to play this game, is to match the letters. So they're going to take the lowercase A and they're going to put it on the uppercase A. But you want to make sure that you're having them say the sound of it, not this is an A and an A. So they're going to say A, P, Y, X, O as they place the lowercase on it. Just pay attention when you get to the L. Sometimes they think it's an uppercase I. That can be very confusing for children because we're learning in book number 1 that the word I is a word, and then they get to here and it's a straight line just like the word I, and they get confused. So just remind them that it's a lowercase L. And it's obviously O, not L. So this is a fun game. It goes really quick once they get the hang of it. So this is something that is fun to do. Okay, so we've talked about the manila envelope game. That is actually called your sound game. And then we have another game here called the egg carton game. And basically, I'll be sending you home with your child home with this piece of construction paper. All you have to do is glue it on the top of an egg carton. So you just need a 12 case egg carton. And it doesn't need to be paper. It can be the styrofoam ones, whatever. Really, all it is just like a little holding place. So you're going to glue this to the top. You can decorate the egg carton, and you can have your child help you and make it so pretty that they just absolutely love it. You can bedazzle it and do whatever you need. But basically, you're just going to need these 12 cartons. And in each one of these holes, you're going to be putting a treat for your child. So you could put Skittles or M&Ms or raisins or marshmallows or something small enough that you don't mind them eating 12 of. Put them in each section of the egg carton, okay, on the table. Then you're also going to be receiving this little packet of sight words. There's going to be all of the sight words that you're going to want your child to know. But there's also at the back going to be a bunch of blank ones. So you can, if your child is still struggling with sounds of certain letters, you can just do sounds. Just let them know that you're only working on sounds, and don't try to blend a sound and a word, because that gets confusing when you've got an A and an I, the word A and the word I. And then you're also saying, oh, no, this is a K, this is the sound K, but this is the word A. So it gets confusing for them. So just make sure if you're only doing sounds that you write them on just a little piece of paper and stick them in there with the treat. So you're just going to go through and put all of your little word and or sound cards, one in each one. I'm doing a whole bunch. That's a terrible example. But basically just do one in each one with the treat. And then if your child gets it, you pull the treat out and you set it on the table. And then once they've gone through all 12, then they can eat the pile of treats at the end. I recommend that you wait until the end, because once they've had one or two, they might decide they're done and not want to continue reading. So it's better to let them practice all 12 words and then decide they only want to eat one or two pieces of treat than to get one or two words in and then stop, if that makes sense. So that's how this game is played. And you'll each receive a bag with all of these little sight words in it, and then also the title for the cover of that. Okay, so these two games that I've just told you about, the My Reading game, this one here, and this one, these are games that I would ask that you play whenever your child would like, frequently. And to encourage that, I'm also giving you this. This is going to be in the front of the very, very front of your backpack, in front of your child's name, if they have completed this. So yes, we practice our egg carton game 5 times. If that happened, if you did the egg carton game 5 times through, you put this with the pink side facing forward in the very, very front of your backpack. So that's the first thing I see when I'm hanging up their backpacks, is that, oh, there's a pink card in the front. That means that mom has put this here to let Mrs. Tammy know that they've finished that. If they do that, they get to choose from the treasure box. On the back side is the same thing, but it says we practice our sound game 10 times. So this one is 5 times. If they do this 5 times through, not only they'll get a major sugar rush, but they would love it. And this one is 10 times, where they're just going to place the lowercase sounds on the uppercase sounds and let you know what the sound is. If they do this one 10 times, then you put this in the very front of their backpack, in front of their name, letting me know that I need to let them choose from the treasure box. Once I have let them choose from the treasure box, I will put this back in their folder in their backpack so that you can pull it out. Okay, so we've covered that. One other thing is that in the classroom, we will have this hung on the wall. This is from last year. Ours is actually already hung on the wall. But this is going to be hanging on the wall with every child's name here. And every time they read a book and finish a book, they get their 20 signatures. They get to put a sticker here on the wall. And kids get so excited about this. I hand them a sticker and I say, okay, go put it over there on your name. And they get so excited. The other kids will gather around and they'll watch them as they get to put their sticker on here. And then they get to see the progress. It's also kind of a good motivator, because if one kid is like, oh, I haven't even read one book yet, and so-and-so's at book 5, I want to try to do that. So it helps them remember that, oh, when I go home, I want to read my book. So this will be up on the wall in the preschool. And then I will also have this. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there we go. All right, I'm going to put this taped inside of their folder. In the very back of their folder, I'm going to have this with their name here. And every time they read a book, I'm going to put a sticker in there as well. So they get to do 2 stickers, here and on the wall. The one on the wall, though, is the one that's the most exciting. So that just helps keep track of where they're at on their books in their folder for you if you need it, and also for me, and then we have the one here in the classroom. Okay, one last thing, and then I'll let you go. In the information that I'm sending home with your child, we also have this fun little game. There isn't a reward for this game, but the kids really do enjoy doing it. All this is if you haven't played the game Don't Eat Pete, this is kind of our own little version of Don't Eat Pete. There's just a couple of little cute pictures of alligators doing different things here. And one of them is going to be named Pete. So what you do is you grab a dry erase marker and you just write a word, a sight word in each one. Okay? It's kind of like the egg crate game. You're going to put a little piece of candy or something, a treat, a marshmallow, a raisin, or whatever, on each square, one on each square. And then you decide, or if you're playing it as a group, like as a family, you send your child out of the room. You guys decide as a group, okay, since on here I wrote a, my, the, I, on, and. Okay, so we could just say, okay, Pete's going to be the word A. And then you just bring your child back in, and the child starts by saying, okay, this one got rubbed off. I think it was 2. They'll read the word 2. Okay, 2. And then they'll look up at you. They'll start to grab the candy. They'll look up at you. And if it isn't Pete, they get to eat it. And then they get to keep going. No, and, my. Then when they get to A, they're like, A. And they grab the candy. And right before they eat it, you all yell, don't eat Pete. And then they know, oh, that was Pete. So, but what they're doing, and they don't realize they're doing, is they're reading words. And they're doing it with an incentive. And it's fun. So basically, we're just turning reading into games and into fun. So this is another fun thing you could just do on your own. I wanted to include that with your children's information because it's just a fun game that I think really helps encourage your children. And the more diversity we have in games, that gets them, they can try something and then they get sick of something and they can try something else. So anyway, Don't Eat Pete will be in there as well. So you will be receiving your readers. You will be receiving this information that I encourage you to read through again because this video is a little longer than I expected it to be. Read through this and make sure to put book number 1 in your child's backpack right away. You can take the other books out, but keep book number 1 in there because that's where we're going to start, and they can start reading immediately. So if they get home on Tuesday with their books and they're so excited and they want to read, then go ahead, start reading on Tuesday, and you can go every day from there on out and just try to see how far you can get in their readers, okay? If you have any questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to call or text me and let me know what your questions are, and I'd be happy to help you guys. And I am so excited. This is my favorite part of the year because I get to watch the kids get so excited about reading. So I look forward to helping your kids, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.